Do I look like Lubie? Good morning, by the way.
You look
Do I
good.
look like I need a cut, man?
You look good. I'm proud of you. You're like ready. You're on time. All the guys there didn't have to stress out waiting for you. Look at you. A new day.
I'm a professional. There's no question about it. And I don't like to lose a job on the first day of the job.
That'd be good.
Which is ugly. Because we already lost one job, and we got fired by Fox. And in fact, you and I, Lubie, are the only starters that were ever beaten out for a job by Brady Quinn. If you can kind of wrap your arms around that concept. Florida, which is in the state of Florida, has been in the Stone Age forever. I mean, we're still operating by blue laws. I don't even know if you can buy a beer before 12 o'clock on a Sunday. I'm not sure what religious cult is responsible for the legislation that takes place, but essentially Florida is structured this way. We're here in South Florida, which is very hip and up with modern times. And once you get, would you say, north of Palm Beach, Mike Lubitz, West Palm Beach, Florida, for those unfamiliar with the geography of the state, if you get like 30 miles out of town here, forget about it. It's Hillbilly City. You're hearing banjo music, and somebody's telling you to squat down like a pig when you pull up to the Waffle House. It's just the way it is. Leslie Visser, a lovely and talented one. I mean, the first woman and for a long time, the only woman, there are now two, in the NFL Hall of Fame. I mean, in there with all of the greats, Johnny U, Joe Willie, all of our favorites, Joe Montana, the great Dan Marino, and Leslie Visser, part of the scene in the NFL Hall of Fame. But what level of distinction is it to be the first guest on our new program? Because I would imagine, Leslie Visser, and by the way, how are you? Thanks so much for joining us here on the program.
Is this an after-school special?
This isn't practice. We're doing it. We're all over the world.
Congratulations to you guys. I'm so proud to be your first guest. And, of course, I have a number of things to go over that maybe this time it could be different. You know, it's not the gambler's creed.
You think we can erase the past all at once here in one program? It's impossible.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
A very pleasant and beautiful morning here in South Florida. Good morning, everybody. I'm Jeff Deforrest, and look who's back. Look who's in the other box here. If you're on Ion Channel and you're catching the video stream, which is receiving sensational reviews, Ricardo was at the controls. Ricardo, by the way, who is filling in for Mike Lubitz, becomes the most valued and sought-after free agent in the business right now. I mean, even bigger at this point in time than Odell Beckham Jr. But nonetheless, Mike Lubitz is back, and it's good to have him back, although we flipped the video here to a position that does seem a little bit awkward here. All right, there you go. Very nice. Lubie, how are you? You look a little pale there. Did you get any sun when you were traveling in Europe? How many days did you spend in Newark as compared to Florence?
None, thank God. We spent one night in Newark. I spent a day in Florence, a day in Rome, multiple days in Paris, a day in Strasbourg, and a day in Epernay.
Very nice. And how'd it go? I mean, you're still talking to the wife,
Yes.
the lovely Shirley? You guys are still speaking? Because I have that bloodbath coming up in May. I don't know what influenced me at the time. I think it was a small inheritance that I got from my mother. And I thought, well, geez, I've never been to Europe, so it's about time I go. The only other country I've been to, outside of Canada, which we thought about staying there during the Vietnam War, but red-blooded American. I stuck it out. Had a high draft number, so it wasn't really a factor. And then they eliminated the draft immediately after. But Colombia for that fight, Kendall Holt versus Ricardo Torres, where I had to survive a riot ringside and barely got out of there with my life. As fortunately, the Colombian guy won the fight. And even though it was under bogus circumstances, there seemed to be very, very sketchy circumstances, the stoppage there stopped the fight. The referee stopped the fight. And his name is Gino Rodriguez. And you know what he's famous for, Lubie?
Oh, God, what?
Gino Rodriguez, a Chicago boxing referee. Good-looking guy. And his daughter, Gina Rodriguez, and this was on our Trivia Challenges, True False Question last week, the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, which goes on Thursdays from 7 to 9. And his daughter, Gina Rodriguez, is like a two-time Oscar winner. She's a high-level actress. And he was doing a good acting job that night, pretending that there was a reason to stop that fight. You talk about a guy that was lonely on the plane there. We were all flying back together. That's the way this thing goes. It's kind of like lining up for the circus doing boxing. And the referee was the loneliest man on that plane because everybody was pissed. It was unbelievable. The lovely Lois Erickson is tuned in. A lot of messages already. And you're getting congratulatory messages on your return, Mike Lubitz here, and our good friend Lois Erickson, part of the blues scene, and great friends with two people that we hope to feature on the show maybe on Friday.
Nice.
Gail and Harry from La Spana's Original Hoagies. They're going to be catering the Mike Mayo segment on the program. So special hello to Lois Erickson and all the people that are tuning in. We really enjoy the messages and the interaction with you guys on the board here. Many things happening, though, in the world of sport. Are you ready to roll with that? Did you get a chance to see anything over the last couple of weeks? What is the European coverage like? Or is it 18 pages of soccer in the sports section?
It's straight soccer. We were on a train.
Straight soccer, a boring sport that was invented by people that belong to a mutant society. They had no arms, or there would be no reason not to just grab the ball and throw it. They love it, though, huh? Ricardo's a big soccer fan. Ricardo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We didn't get a chance to talk much soccer, as you might imagine, here on the show.
No,
anyway, so what are the sports sections like in, what is it, Paris Match? That's a magazine. What are the, do they have newspapers over there in Europe now?
I didn't see one person reading a paper ever. So I guess they have them. I didn't see them.
All right. And you didn't get a chance to see much of the sporting life. It was a great night yesterday. I held up, and this is fantastic. I should do this every day now. I don't know how effective it is in terms of your ability to actually see what's going on. But if you just look at this, this is my New York Post. And somehow when the wind blows, the first page that blows open should be the obituary page, right? And I should check for my own name. But it's the odds posted on all of the games. And with college basketball, finally tipping it off last night. Well, I don't know if it was finally, but it actually comes around sooner than you would expect because we have so many things on the sporting surface here and on the plate that it's hard to get them all in. But college hoops, a spectacular start last night with a big doubleheader at Madison Square Garden, the mecca of college basketball. Madison Square Garden, pro basketball. A lot of the celebrities were on hand. The place was packed. It was a radical departure from what we saw college basketball scene. College basketball without the fans. I mean, it's one thing to see pro basketball without the fans, because I kind of like that without a ton of noise, and you hear the ball bouncing on the wood and the sneakers squeaking. I mean, it's real old school kind of stuff, right? You're watching Bobby Knight running some kind of man-to-man defense against a team that can't find a way out of this stranglehold that he's put on them, and you hear the sneakers squeaking, and they're all Chuck Taylor Converse All-Stars, and it was a lot of fun. I like the ambient sound of sporting events. I always did, and that kind of was drowned out by overbearing stadium announcers, screaming stadium announcers, and worse, probably the worst affliction ever in the history of sport. It's one thing to have Jane Jarvis tapping it out on the Thomas organ and playing a little Chapanacos in the seventh inning of a Met game back in the day. And that was it, right? That was the only interference in terms of just blowing away the decibel level of what anybody could possibly humanly tolerate, and just assaulting your senses at sporting events, which now, I mean, do we point the finger at DJ Irie? He wasn't the first guy to do this. This cat seems to be a cool guy, right? I mean, all of a sudden you're DJing parties at Dwayne Wade's house. I mean, that's got to be a pretty penny. That was a lot better than those bar mitzvahs he was doing in Lake Worth before that. Are there Jews in Lake Worth? I don't know. I would imagine so. Yeah, we're sprinkled all throughout the state. But as you go further north, you see less and less of it because the people there think we have horns. It's incredible. But it was great. I mean, last night to have a crowd back there, because you need a crowd of college basketball. Yes. And it wasn't the Cameron Crazies. They had a lot of Duke people in the house, obviously, because, well, they got the bread to go to New York. Yep. And, you know, well, it's not that far away, right? North Carolina, and you're heading to New York City. Yeah, it's a schlep. What are you talking about?
That's a trip.
Although you do have to go, to that airport, Charlotte Airport, to get into a lot of flights on the Eastern Seaboard. I used to have to spend a lot of time there. And my good buddy on the travel trips that we took with the University of Miami, always stopping in Charlotte for some reason, because it was hard to get to these big East cities and locations out of Miami. In conjunction with the schedule that these teams were keeping, Konstantin Popa,
favorite
7'3" of left-handed hook shot with spaghetti arms. Good guy though. They never ever reposted Konstantin Popa. He would throw the ball out. It was the direct opposite of the Ronnie Cycli syndrome, where the ball went in and it was a Bermuda Triangle that just like disappeared. Hey, where's the ball? Oh, Ronnie still got it. He got it in his shorts, like he was Curly Neal or something. Metal Arc Lemon. Meadowlark didn't hold the ball as long as Roddy Cycli did, and they had the 24-second clock. Of course, the Trotters would turn that thing off because it was sports entertainment. But anyway, Popa, they never threw the ball back in. He would pass it back out to some guy and immediately chuck it up, and Leonard Hamilton would take his tie and try to strangle himself with it because he had already thrown his jacket in the face of Sonny Hirsch, who was courtside with me doing the games. But I always liked college basketball once I got into it. Yeah. New York City, I mean, you thought about it all the time. Everybody wanted to be Satch Sanders and play for NYU. And you looked across the country, and there was UCLA dominating with all those New York players. Hey, Sam, you got any more money? That was that
exactly
whole Sam Gilbert thing we got into yesterday when we were denouncing the integrity of Coach K. I have to applaud his farewell tour. I'm sorry. I know our good friend, a professor, who joins us on our Degenerate Friday shows, can't stand Mike Krzyzewski. There was an anti-Duke bias, I think, somewhat universally. Unless you went to Duke, it didn't seem like there was any reason to root for them to do anything but lose every game. In football, basketball, I don't know. They probably have a good baseball team, too. I think they do. But basketball, of course, was the centerpiece. And Coach K, the winningest coach of all time. Can you imagine? Adolph Rupp, maybe rolling over in his grave, saying, how much did they give Zion?
Exactly.
How are they not under, like, permanent investigation just for the recruitment of Zion Williamson alone? How did he end up there, my friend? And didn't they have to make some kind of bizarre academic exception? Not that, he's not an intelligent guy. I don't know what his grades were in high school or test scores. And I don't know that that's as relevant as people made it back in the day. Because, look, these guys essentially that were growing up in poor neighborhoods really had no shot to qualify academically for a lot of these schools. But you just wonder, right, what kind of exceptions were made there in that recruitment. And yet never under any kind of NCAA scrutiny is Coach K. Calipari, they know, is probably up to something, right? But they don't even bother, right? Let's not look into that right now. We're making a lot of money with these guys. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful what goes on in sports. But I want to applaud Coach K. I mean, a brilliant career, you would have to say, no? Mike Lubitz, what do you think?
Coach K. The professor
you
hates
do.
And Visser Mama right now is her eyes have rolled all the way in the back of her head.
No, she's actually going to do a piece. I don't know if it's for CBS or this new podcast she has. I mean, she has so many enterprises going. Leslie Visser, right? She had a much bigger, career than almost anybody that you can imagine. So, it's great that she's still doing this stuff. You'd figured she'd just be kicked back on a beach somewhere with a margarita, listening to, show tunes. I don't know, but going to interview Coach K and do something with him as he makes his final tour around college basketball. Started out in fine fashion, though. This Paolo Banchero was like the number 4 recruit in the country. That guy Holmgren, the skinny string bean, 7'3" guy. That's out at Gonzaga. Gonzaga, by the way, Lubie, 62-3. I read. Is that regular season or the last 3 seasons? It's either regular season for the last 3 years. Or, I mean, did they finish up a couple of regular seasons undefeated in the last 3 years? Because obviously they sustained losses in the NCAA tournament. They couldn't have gone undefeated 3 years in a row. So that must be their regular season record over the last 3 seasons was 62-3. Now, they get great people. Mark Few, obviously a tremendous coach. But what was he not also disgraced? What happened with Mark Few? Did he get a DUI or something? Something happened with him, and all of a sudden he came under DUI. Few? He doesn't even look like he drinks.
Yeah, something this offseason. I have to look it up. You're right. He did something this offseason happened to him. I don't know what it was.
Other than that, I mean, you talk about a pristine, clean record. I mean, he is like Tony Segreto being compared to us in terms of the way he's conducted his business in his lifetime. Even he comes under the scrutiny of disgrace. That's hard to imagine. But college basketball coaches are very fascinating people. If you get a chance, catch any of our interviews with these guys. I mean, Jim Larinaga, great. Rick Pitino, it's spellbinding. And as I've said many times, including on yesterday's show, when Leslie got us Mike Krzyzewski to do an interview with us after the U.S. had won a gold medal in the Olympics, and this has to go back about 12 years, maybe 3 Olympics back. This guy's conversation about basketball and what his position in society is and what it means to be a coach and be a leader of these young men. I mean, it was Joel Osteen, man, sitting in front of a huge crowd there at that basketball facility that he bought in Houston to house the people that were sending in money right and left to that little post office box number on the bottom of the screen. By the way, I suggested that to Jack Namer. put a little P.O. box on the bottom of the screen there where people could send money and
That's the move. That's a great job.
get through this infant stage of our transition to being video stars here. In addition to putting out our audio stream on like 112 channels. I'm hoping at least one person per channel is tuned into this thing. It'll be a big number there, triple digits early on in our existence. Anyway, Kansas beats Michigan State. It brought up the magic question. I thought of you, Lubie, and I know we hadn't spoken since you took off for Europe because I like to just leave you alone for a while, right? Let you chill out, figure out what direction you want to take your life in. Perhaps you want to turn in your resignation before today's show, but I'm glad you're back with enthusiasm. But you had the gumption to go ahead and see if we could get an answer on this thing, and I think your conclusion was that yes, Bill Self is wearing a hairpiece, and he might be the trickiest proposition if you were going to play Jersey Kyle and I have a game, piece or no piece. And even Evan, don't mention my name, gets involved in this thing because it's especially effective when traveling to play a little piece or no piece. Yep. Some people are on their phone, they're playing solitaire, they're pretending they're doing work. Do guys just whip out like a sophisticated looking book to act like they're reading it, or do people really read this kind of literature? Because you'll see a guy across the aisle there, and he's got a book that looks really complicated and thick, and you're thinking, wow, I mean, that would be the cumulative amount of my reading lifetime if he even read half of that book. And it'll have some title that you're thinking, wow, I have no idea what that means, and yet this guy's reading this kind of stuff. What is my problem with pursuit of intellect? Because, there I am with, I'm rereading for the fourth time the Yonkers entries. I think I'll take those out and look at them again, make some mind bets. And that's kind of the level of my sophistication when it comes to any kind of literature. But are people really reading those books, or is that like the old phony game that you used to play? I don't know if you did this on the quad there when you were at FSU. You pretended to read something that I'm reading a little Nietzsche today.
That was your move. You found a puppy.
Puppy, you put him on a rope. Yeah, not even like a real leash, just a rope like you're Mr. Cool. It worked, man. A lot of babes fell for that. I couldn't tell him if Nietzsche's philosophy differed very much from Yogi Berra's, but and I was more likely to quote Berra than I was Nietzsche. That's for sure. So Duke also gets off to a good start. Kansas wins. Piece or no piece? Bill Self, you decided it was a piece.
And that's what's funny about that game, because I fought
talking about a hairpiece. I mean, for the uninitiated.
No, it wasn't a gun. It was hair. And I swore there's no way it's fake until I was right in front of his face and touching it. I'm like, oh, wow, I think this is fake.
Well, usually you can tell by the back. I mean, that's the first key. It's almost like a buyer speed figure where you just take a glance to see this horse ran an 86. Nobody else in the race had anything higher than a 60 in their last race. I'm going to give the edge immediately to this horse. And so if you look at the back of the head of anybody when you're trying to play a little hairpiece or no hairpiece, piece or no piece, as the game is known. And this is effective, too, on a Galt Ocean Mile here in South Florida. Where else would it be big? The Borscht Belt, maybe? I don't know if that still has any kind of a scene like it used to. Where, you used to have all these top comedians playing the Borscht Belt there, like Shecky Green and all of those types from that era. And, you would imagine there were a lot of hairpieces there. In fact, the biggest business was like Maurice Wigs. But Self, I mean, this has always bothered me because in the back it looks like a piece for sure.
Yes.
And yet some people say that is the greatest hair weave in the history of hair weaves, although maybe being rivaled right now by the former jockey and a good friend of the program, the great Jerry Bailey, who had no hair like a year ago, zero. He didn't have a single hair on his head, man. He looked like Popeye. No, he was great. I mean, a tremendous guy and a real class individual. I shouldn't even be speaking of him in this light, but I saw him on the Breeders' Cup coverage. He has a full head of hair now. And it looks like if you didn't know that he was bald before, you would think, a little questionable, but it's like a full head of hair. It's incredible, Lubie. There's hope for us all, right? I mean, what do I got going here? Nothing.
Well, John Cena, Urlacher, like that's a new thing now where you're totally bald. So you're just admitting, I got a hair transplant. What do you do with a hair transplant? Is that piece, no piece? Where does that fit in? I wanted to ask you.
That's piece. That comes under heading a piece. But I guess not, because it's a separate category. Because the cheesy hairpiece is like one of my favorite things that people, put on their head. and or dress with, or whatever kind of attire you're going to have. If you included that as part of it, man, the cheesy hairpiece is just a thing of beauty. But anyway, so Bill Self, I'm very convincing last night on TV that was real hair. You were up close, went up to him at the bar and said, "Hey, Bill, is that a piece?"
Yes.
And that was a good piece of Mike Wallace-like reporting that you did at that Final Four. We learned a lot there, too, including, and I was talking about this yesterday because it left an indelible impression with me about college basketball and where it's at. Yeah. When those guys were lined up like they were, giving, paying homage to the Godfather. And Calipari was sitting there in the white slacks with the no socks and the, expensive, like $5,000 shoes. Yep. And a dress shirt that looks like, even Prince Charles couldn't afford the thing. Hey, Harry, you going to wear the blue shirt? Okay. We'll give it to Calipari. And 7-footers were coming up there and literally getting on their knees and begging him for a scholarship. Please, John, I'll play hard. I'll never do any drugs, no alcohol. I won't get in any jackpots. I'll do nothing to embarrass the program. And Calipari would go, okay, next. And that was it. They would hand him a sheet with their stats on it. The coach was standing nervously like those PR guys do on Radio Row. Are you going to hurry up? Come on, the guy's got to go. They're giving you the wrap-up sign right away. Yep. Like the guy just sat down. They're giving you the wrap-up sign. So unless you had like 30 points a game in high school and averaged 11 blocks, Calipari wasn't talking to you for more than a couple of seconds. And when he passed on a guy, that was it. All the other guys went scrambling, right? Shaka Smart is, begging the guy, please talk to me. I'm Shaka Smart. I took a nothing team to the Final Four. We looked great. Unbelievable. Yeah, no, Calipari definitely rolls along with Krzyzewski. But interesting start to the college basketball season last night. A game I was watching with some interest, kind of following it, to some level. But I don't know why. Hofstra University, Speedy Claxton was an assistant coach there for 7 years. He was their best player ever. They take on Houston last night. Houston was in the Final Four last year, right?
Yes, they were.
I think they're ranked like 15th in the country. And here's Speedy Claxton, his first ever effort with an underdog schmenk team like Hofstra. And he takes Houston into overtime, but eventually loses. And they had the game under wraps. Some guy hit a miracle three-pointer, but I was kind of rooting for this guy because, you like the guys that pay their dues. They're even Coach K, paid his dues. Was at West Point there before he got the job, and looked like he was going to lose the job. That was one of the interesting parts of his story, that they were ready to just throw him right out of the state of North Carolina, never allow him to even sniff a tobacco product ever again. And sure enough, he turned out to be, you could make the argument, he's the greatest college basketball coach of all time. The professor, I hear him screaming in the background. What? All right, a bunch of other things happening, and I guess the defense is going to start its case in this Ahmaud Arbery trial. The prosecution already rested. I mean, what did they really need to do except show the video of 3 guys tracking a guy with shotguns who was going on a jog through a neighborhood there on a sunny day, minding his own business, and they track him down, stick a gun in his chest, and then they're going to argue now the defense in this trial, which is interesting. It'd be kind of interesting to see how they put this on. It was almost like the OJ defense, where you looked and you said, as Chris Rock put it many years ago in that comedy routine, bloody glove at the crime scene, bloody glove at OJ's house. I rest my case, right? If you were Marcia Clark, you didn't have to write all these books. And I don't know, did she have a thing going with Darden?
Yes.
Worst blowing layup in the history
yes.
of all sport, losing the O.J. Simpson trial with a pyramid of evidence just piled up, pointing a finger right in this man's face. Incredible. And that's kind of where it stands with these 3 guys, these hillbillies that mowed down this poor kid while he was on a jog. I mean, a disgusting story. And indicative, unfortunately, of the giant divide. Here's my political commentary for this morning, people. Are you ready?
Ready.
The country has never been more divided than it is today, right? I mean, that this is even going on. This obviously, everybody is worthy of a trial, but they're going to plead self-defense in this case. Just like that kid that shot the people. He's on trial like in Minnesota, and he shot the people at one of the George Floyd protests that was going on and killed like 2 people and shot like a couple of others, or at least one other, who was on the stand there, described it. It's a horror show, and he's pleading self-defense. But these 3 hicks that mowed down this poor kid, Ahmaud Arbery, in a case that was ignored by the local police there and the local authorities. It was like a year later they finally said, maybe we ought to charge these guys. Let's bring them in for questioning first. And they're going to plead self-defense. And this might be the worst defense. I can only think of one worse, and that would be the New York Jets defense right now. To plead self-defense in this particular case, going to be a hard sell, I would think, although the nearly all-white jury might buy it. So we'll see what happens there. That's in Glynn County, which is the name, by the way, of a horse that we touted here on the show once and helped everybody make a 1640 score. And then it's been up and down like a slinky ever since with that particular horse. I don't think that horse was named for this county, in the deep south, though. Doesn't that sound like it would be a place in Ireland or something? Yeah, Glynn County. Yeah. You were just in Europe. I mean, did you have any inclination to go to a place called Glynn County and down a couple of Guinness pints?
No. No.
Maybe.
It's Georgia. Yeah, that screams south.
Yeah. Glynn County. Yeah, Georgia. All right. The NFL, Aaron Rodgers drama continues. I don't even know what to say about that anymore.
What are you guys doing with that? I've been keeping track of everything, actually, because I had internet over there. And I was keeping in touch with Ricardo. What do you do with Aaron? Like, what happened to him? Wasn't he like this progressive, open-minded, smart guy? Like, he looks like a living lunatic.
I don't know. He went and had like a smoothie at Whole Foods, and he thought that constituted being vaccinated. And maybe it does to some people. That's okay. A lot of people don't believe in this kind of stuff, and that's fine. I mean, you can't necessarily fault the guy. Now, if the conditions of your job are, and that's why these mandates are. It's a very debatable topic. I don't know. Can you mandate somebody to do something that they really don't want to do that, they're, vehemently opposed to? And maybe that's where he's coming from. But, people don't like being lied to. That's always the thing. With Pete Rose, if he had just said, of course I bet the Reds. What are you talking about? I had money on every game. We know you did, Pete. It's all right. I mean, now it'd be accepted. In fact, they would have it's only a matter of time before the manager of the two teams is asked who he likes in the game. All right, we're going down on the field there. We got Tony La Russa. Tony, what do you think tonight? White Sox minus 135? Well, we're going to go to the pen right away, and I'm going to make like 7 righty-lefty switches at inappropriate times, and I'm going to wear out my bullpen. In fact, all of these guys worked in the game last night, so I would think this. I would take the points, take the runs, and take the price on the Boston Red Sox tonight to beat us. I would not lay 135 to win 100. On the Chicago White Sox. Okay, thanks, Tony. Let's go to Alex Cora. Cora, what do you got? Well, we got all our heavy hitters at the beginning of the lineup tonight, and they really pound this White Sox pitcher the last time he was out there. So I would think that we're a good bet. Money line, straight up. When's that going to happen? I mean, that's going to be part of the pregame shows now. They even have like guys on those NFL pregame shows where they always pick the games without the point spread, which is as useless a practice as anything you could possibly do. Stupid. I mean, an absolute waste of time to even think about doing that. And now they kind of give a little hint about the point spreads. And I'm thinking it's only a matter of time, too, before the officials in the NFL are wearing like FanDuel emblems on their striped shirts. Especially if you saw that game with the Chicago Bears. My God, Lubie. Worst officiated game I've seen in a long, long time, and that's saying a lot because I thought that about the game the previous night involving San Diego Chargers. How many times have you said that, people, to yourself while you're watching an NFL game this year? That is the worst officiating I've ever seen in my lifetime. And then you're thinking, wait a minute, I said that at the 1 o'clock game here. We're not even a Sunday night. Where Chris Collinsworth, he's a little afraid to step on the. Is he being paid by the officials union, Chris Collinsworth, not to criticize anything they do? Well, that looked a little suspect, didn't it, Al?
Thanks, Chris.
You're screaming at the TV. My God, how could you throw a flag on that? And these guys, well, you know what? That looked a little questionable. Thank God for replay. All right, we've accomplished nothing here. The Dolphins will be in action, and they'll be playing tomorrow night. That last game, it really was. It was like watching $1 Million Baby last 45 minutes. I hate to keep referencing Terry Schiavo because it was a sad story, but I don't know that anything was more torturous. What was more torturous, watching that Dolphin game against Houston or Terry Schiavo's crusade, the family's crusade to get Jeb Bush to pull the plug finally?
That's a close
He's only been in a coma. I mean, his argument was she was only in a coma for 11 years or whatever that was. Yes. Pretty good chance of a revival here. Like, They wheel her into some witch doctor in Hialeah. What are you talking about? That was the only way she was going to come back to life. But anyway, that was as much torture as going through that whole thing was, that whole crusade with the family, and you felt so bad for these people. And there was Jeb with a Bible. And where was he? Oh, Tallahassee. What a surprise. Saying, no, can't do that. God would frown on that. Thanks, Jeb. That always bothered me when he was running for president, too, that, you could be identified by a single hillbilly name with an exclamation point. Like I'm going to see a white sign with black letters that says Jeb with an exclamation point and go, yeah, sounds good to me. Abe Lincoln, George Washington, Jeb. You might welcome this cat now. I mean, after the whole Trump thing. I don't want to get too political here. We'll get in a jackpot with Big Jack. College football playoffs, and Dave Hyde's going to join us here in a few minutes on the show, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Dave Hyde from the Sun Sentinel, South Florida Sun Sentinel, for those of you listening around the country, around the world. A real classy sports writer, been in this area for a long time, and there are many local issues. All of a sudden, too, the Panthers have lost a couple of games. Our Florida Panthers, who were trying to set a new record for the best start in NHL history, and they fell one game short. Although that Shesterkin, the goaltender for the Rangers, they're really bitching in New York City today and in the papers about the ridiculously rough play, they thought, by the Florida Panthers, who were never known. I mean, weren't they like, Mr. Softy, my friend? Ah, here comes the ice cream guy. Yeah, I like that stuff. It's not too hard. They were, a finesse team. Nothing could be worse than being known as a finesse team in any professional sport. Right? Somebody says, what's true about this guy, Lopez? He's a finesse fighter.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. The guy could never set foot in Mexico again. But he's labeled a finesse fighter. They want blood. They want guts. And I don't know if we've been looking for that with the Florida Panthers. It's kind of nice when you have the team that's bullying people around a little bit. Yep. Isn't it? You take a certain sense of pride, right? Those Philadelphia Flyer fans, Broad Street bullies. I mean, they loved it, right? They didn't care that Bobby Clark didn't have any teeth. It didn't matter. Well, in hockey, I guess that's not a measuring stick.
No.
I'm going to the dentist today. I think that was subliminal when that came out, that all of a sudden I'm picturing myself with the mouth of an NHL goon. That's what my dentist said to me, Michael Nudeberg. He said, were you a goon in the NHL at one time?
No.
That's the only explanation for this level of decay. Incredible. Anyway, college football playoff, there was a slight change there. Of course, Michigan State losing and dropping out. What was interesting about that is they have a heads-up victory over Michigan, and Michigan is ahead of them in one of the also eligible slots, if you will, if you want to put it in horse racing terms. So Michigan became number 6, and Michigan State, after losing, became number 7, which is weird because they both have the same record, and Michigan State has beaten Michigan. Remember when we used to have those arguments? Wow, with University of Miami? Well, we beat them. We beat Florida State. How could they be ahead of us? It was crazy, Michigan kind of stuff. But this is what makes... See, college football discussions largely are based on the ridiculous, are they not?
Yep.
2 teams, same record, same pretty much level of competition. One team beat the other, but they are behind them in the rankings.
Yes.
And then you get some very sophisticated-looking guy on, and he says, there was a lot of discussion about that. Sure there was.
Thank you.
Who has the bigger boosters, Michigan or Michigan State?
Oh, good.
Come on, man. I mean, the Wolverines are packing them in there, 104,000, the big house. Doesn't matter. I mean, Bo Schembechler still has money in his trust that he's sending in to influence the panel of voters there. I don't want to suggest that with Tony coming on the show. He's on all those committees. Tony Segredo goes all school with us in short order here, right around 8 o'clock here, Eastern time on the program. But anyway, so... Ohio State is now number 4. Oregon is number 3, Lubie. Georgia and Alabama 1-2. Now, Georgia and Alabama still play, don't they?
They would at least play in the SEC championship game.
Okay. I mean, I think they have a game left for sure, Georgia and Alabama. So whoever loses that game, I don't know that you can discredit somebody for losing that game. It depends, I guess, on the fashion in which it's conducted. Wouldn't you like to see Nick Saban lose that thing like 43-3?
Yep.
And somehow, but they still wouldn't drop out of the top 4. So, you're thinking, what is the opportunity for Cincinnati hovering in there at number 5 to kind of break the ice and break this whole mold and get like what you'd consider to be a second-tier schmank team into the college football playoffs. Everybody's been screaming for this. And it would be interesting to see if they got in there and then just absolutely got annihilated in their opening game. And then all of the wise guys that were against it to begin with would say, you see, I told you they didn't belong in there. And that's kind of what people were thinking about UCF many years ago. And any number of others who got to this point in the season undefeated, but essentially had played, you would have to say, a second-tier schedule. Right? Because even a team like LSU has given clubs problems this year. And, they've already fired their coach.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, we're coming back with a lot more here. I'm Jeff Deforrest. Mike Lubitz back with us. Good to have you back on the scene here. Are you battling any kind of travel fatigue?
Nah, we didn't go. We came back and stayed, landed late Monday, so Tuesday was recovery day. So
okay,
I'm ready to go.
No jet lag here. I mean, how does that work when you come back from Europe? Are you more geared up when you come back and dead when you get there, or dead on both ends?
Both.
Of the trip, because that's a long. How long did it take you to fly over there? Like 12 hours?
No. It's about, because you go to Lisbon.
What am I thinking? The Nina Pinta and Santa Maria got here in less than 12 hours.
It's like,
hey, Chris, land. What is it, like 6-8
like
hours?
9
I
to
don't
10
know.
hours. If you go straight, like we had a stopover in Lisbon, so it was like 7 hours there and then 2 hours.
All right, very good. Lubie and Lisbon.
You'll be good. You and Florence would be perfect, man. You're gonna love Florence.
All right. It was like the Born Identity with you. Dateline Lisbon. All of a sudden. And you're looking a little bit like Matt Damon.
Thank you.
Destination Sport Miami. I mean, what can we say about these people, Lubie? You were as stunned as I was when they unveiled their plans. And I remember, going back to my car thinking, yeah, right. You guys are going to get this done? You want to sponsor the show? That's great, man. I mean, we're happy to have you on board here, right? We've dealt with any number of insane people because it looked like just a monumental project. And it seemed like maybe impossible to actually achieve, especially here in South Florida. But it's happening, right? Destination Sport Miami. You've been down to the site now a couple of more times since we had that introductory press conference, which was great, by the way, except the microphone didn't work. And there were so many dignitaries there. And I like that Mayor Cava. Is she doing anything that's helping out the local society there in Miami where she's mayor? Because she seems to be on the right side of things. I don't know. I found her to be very enjoyable to meet. Glenn Rice was there. Brian Trottier was there. Randy Moss. What was on the scene? Jill Ellis. It was Levon. I love you, Miami. And these are all people that are affiliated now with Destination Sport Miami as leaders of their programs, which makes you think, Lubie, that this is going to be a great place for any team, whatever level you happen to be on, to take advantage of the largest indoor sporting multifaceted facility in North America. And I can't imagine. Did you see anything that looked like that in France or Lisbon or Newark? Any of the places that you visited recently?
No,
nothing. I'm saying it's going to be the greatest facility anywhere in the world, and a very ambitious project. So proud of the people for putting it together and getting it off the ground. It's a great team they have assembled. Check them out for yourself. Destination Sport Miami. The building, the facility, I don't know if you can call it a building even. I mean, 2 full football fields for teams to train on indoors. My God. Lightning delay. No problem here. Even a video game thing, right? E-games, as they're called, electronic games.
Yes,
Esports arena, man. I mean, something for everybody. Destination Sport Miami. Check them out online, destinationsportmiami.com. All right, we're coming back with more. Dave Hyde going to join us here in just a couple of minutes on the show. And we go old school with Tony Segreto, brought to you by 2 great outfits, Catholic Health Services, Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. I could go for a little Texas Roadhouse. I was thinking about getting a tray of those sweet potatoes and bringing them and acting like I made them. Showing up for the family Thanksgiving dinner. Hey, try these. They're great. You made these? Be like Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I made them. Yeah, sure. Rodgers goes John Lubitz, right? He goes Pentangeli. Yeah, sure. Immunized? Yeah, call it what you want. I got something in my system. All right. Good to have you back, Lubie. You're looking good, kid. Looking good. I'm Jeff Deforrest. Dave Hyde of the Sun Sentinel, South Florida Sun Sentinel, coming up in just a few minutes here on Ion Channel, man. I mean, rocking here on the Ion Channel, and very happy to have you guys with us. You say there was a lot of positive feedback even around the world, huh, Lubie? You heard about us on your travels. Kind of interesting. You know, Jack's been telling me we got worldwide access now, and
there you go.
So here we are, world. These people, dressed as they are, as they used to say with the contestants on Let's Make a Deal. Back with more in a moment here. We're on Eastern Standard Time, in case you were wondering. And back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
That'll be 7:38 here. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time. When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not, because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Hey, it's Mike Mayo for Even Keel Fish Shack, corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard at Lauderdale by the Sea. It's my favorite place now for great seafood in a casual beachfront setting. They've got happy hour 4 to 7 Monday through Friday. They've got great dishes like grilled oysters and oysters on the half shell, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, octopus. They also have burgers and chicken for those who don't like the seafood. They're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack. Go say hi to Dave and Brad and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone? You can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. David, are the Dolphins evolving into a well-run franchise? Chris Greer has made some interesting moves. I mean, regardless of what they've tried to do, they win 5 games, 10 games with Brian Flores as coach and Greer as the main guy in the general manager's chair. Now, with this small little fire they had going with Xavier Howard, they managed to put that out and douse those flames before the season gets underway. What's happening with this Dolphin franchise? Is it possible that they are finally on a path to go in the right direction?
Oh, God, I hope so. How many years I mean, as a poor sports writer, having to cover mediocrity to less than mediocrity for most of 2 decades, I hope so.
Buenos dias. The cafecito is piping hot. Why not enjoy it with Defo and Lubie? It's now time for the Defo Show.
Well, once again, everybody, great to be with you here on the Defo Show, on channel, and we're streaming audio and video all over the place around the world, and getting some comments here. This has to be our man Andy, huh? I didn't recognize Didn't recognize the moniker here. The TIV, though, was 77. Says, and this is how the show is expanding and growing, and a lot of that is due to the hard work of the people at Ion Channel, and, of course, you, Lubie, coming back after your vacation 1 week into our existence here on the show. You've been vacationing more than you've been on the program, which is great. Taking this next phase of your career very seriously. Andy says, I have a couple of friends in the witness protection program that said they watch now, but I can't name them. It's a start, as they say at the auction when somebody offers $10 on like a Picasso. All right. Speaking of Picassos, if you wanted to equate Picasso's art, the abstract brilliance of it, you would have to say that as far as sports writing goes, this guy fits the bill. And we've enjoyed reading his columns for so many years and having him on the show here. He's won every award. I believe he has a couple of Pulitzers. I think he even has the Norris Trophy. It's amazing. But we welcome to the show from the South Florida Sun Sentinel, their outstanding columnist, the great Dave Hyde joins us here on the program. David, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Defo, and it's good to hear Lubie's back from his grand European vacation. People get to go around the world these days.
I wasn't sure he was going to make it, and I really have no idea how he made it on his radio salary. That obviously he wasn't putting a lot of money away. So apparently the success he claims his wife is having is legitimate. Otherwise, this guy couldn't have afforded a ticket to Orlando to go to SeaWorld once again. Did he still have SeaWorld there? I don't even know.
As a friend of mine says, Defo, it's just as easy to fall in love with a rich woman, right?
My mother told me that all 3 times, man. I'm looking at a fastball on the outside corner. I need to catch her to let this thing go back to the screen the way my marital status is going. But yeah, and none of them had any money, I would have to say. But neither did I, so it really didn't matter. David, I mean, are we on the money with anything? I mean, you seem to be putting out a series of columns lately that are not particularly flattering about the Miami Dolphins situation. If you could explain that to our listeners, where you're coming from with some of this material you've been putting out in the Sun Sentinel.
Quickly, the shortcut is they're 1-7 in the third year of a rebuild. This was the year we see all their grand decisions and master plan and bold decisions come to fruition, and we have. And so that's why they're getting ripped. It was a dumb plan to begin with. You don't tank. You don't give away seasons. You don't hand away good players. And to make that work, you had to hit on all the draft picks. And have they hit on really any of them? I mean, have they really big hit on any of them? Not that I'm seeing, but maybe it's the slowest developing draft classes in history of the NFL.
The class at Faber, the senior class, was more advanced than this one.
Yeah. So they're 1-7, and that look, when you get judged on who wins on wins and losses, as you do in the NFL, you get ripped. And unfortunately, the Patriots writers are writing books and opuses about the dynasty that was and looks like it still is up there. And I'm writing on the back of napkins.
An epitaph, a daily epitaph. Yeah. They should rename the sports section the Daily Epitaph. I've written for that publication many times myself. Lubie's got one for you, Dave Hyde.
Career obit.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, but then on that, because it feels like everyone, and I guess they're now 2-7. I agree with you. That game really doesn't feel like a win Sunday. I don't know what the hell that was, but I guess it goes in the win column now that they broke that 7-game losing streak. But how does it not go on Greer? How does it not go on Flores? And we all give Ross a lot of guff for these moves where he'll bring in people. You can tell they're not good. Sperano and Philbin and Ireland, and he'll just keep them. How can you keep a Greer after a season like this, and even keep a Flores after a season like this?
Well, that's where we are. If I was owning, I wouldn't let Chris Greer run my draft again. I mean, we've seen several of them now, right? And the plan has gone kaput. And so, and if Greer goes, what does that do with Flores? And what is this offense? You have 2 coordinators on offense, and neither of them were calling plays to start the year. first-year line coach with all those investments. So, look, we're back to where we always seem to be every few years with the Dolphins, which is you're looking at the owner to say, what's he going to do? Who's he going to keep? Who's he going to let go? What's he going to replace them with? What's the next plan? And so, it's like the constant Groundhog Day from hell with the Dolphins.
You're almost thinking about sending sympathy cards to your brothers in the media that had to attend that game, which I have the good fortune of not having to schlep down to these Dolphin games. But we've been equating it with the saga of Terry Schiavo, which you'll remember, Dave Hyde, where the family was begging Jeb Bush forever to let them pull the plug on this poor woman who had been in a coma for like 2 decades. And that's kind of what watching that game was like. I don't know. Were you forced to attend that in your duties with the Sun Sentinel, or as a columnist with pretty much free choice over what material you're going to put in the newspaper and make as your contribution? Did you find something out of town, perhaps, to cover that day?
I did go to the game, and
oh my God!
Was quick. What's the phone number of the researchers who are studying brain damage from the NFL?
That Nowitzki guy, you got him on hold. I mean, that's great.
I want to donate my brain because it's damaged. It's been damaged for the last couple decades.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, it was hard to characterize that as NFL football. And then, my problem with a lot of this is, you have the referees now wearing FanDuel emblems on their striped shirts. We were talking about this earlier. And it seems like I'm saying this after every game that I see. I was watching a Chargers game against Philadelphia on Sunday night, and I'm screaming at the TV, and I don't normally do this. I'm not that emotional of a fan, but I might have had a few bucks on a game, but I'm screaming, this is the worst officiated game I've ever seen. And then I watched the Monday night game with, poor suckers that had the Bears on the money line. Did they ever get jobbed in that one? Does it strike you? We asked this of Brett Tusser, our agent to the stars here, NFL insider type. And he said this is the most atrocious officiating he's ever seen. Now, Dave, we've written this column a zillion times. We've had this conversation. I mean, it fuels a lot of sports talk. Oh, man, these refs really suck. Do you see it going that way, though? I mean, especially with all of this money now riding on these games and the NFL encouraging you to participate. Do you think it's a bigger problem than the NFL would care to admit?
I think you remember 1983. I think they had really bad officiating then. So I would put this behind.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's every year though. I mean, but this is atrocious. I mean, the subjective calls.
Where's the analytics on that?
Yeah.
So look, there have been some awful games, and it's going to be compounded by betting when that goes full scale. Because oh my God, can you? I mean, if you want to draw a textbook scenario of a referee who you could just say had money on the game, it was the Chicago game on Monday night, right?
I was looking for Tim Donaghy down there. I really was. I thought Donaghy had come back in the NFL. I mean, he's out of jail. You like that? Well, what about those officials in the NBA that were taking the extra money? Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be just bad officiating. Now it's they're obviously on the take, and it's it's coming. Wait till everybody is open for betting in all the states, and it's going to be rough. It's going to be a beautiful mess.
Well, what are you hearing? Are you hearing anything about where gambling? I mean, they opened up the app there at the Hard Rock. I would imagine. I mean, this is a very impactful story overall, and yet nobody knows how we're doing it. Do you find that typical of any kind of legislation that takes place in the state of Florida, where nobody knows what's happening, even though it's happening?
Yeah, I think everybody who is needed is being paid off right now under the table. So it's
we didn't even want to suggest that here. Dave.
What exactly
so that was bold of you, yeah.
and by the way, I will. You can pay me off too. Okay, that'd be great. I'd like that. I'd like that. It is weird. There's an app, I guess, out you can bet on.
Yes.
Of course, for past several years, you could bet on the MGM app or whatever the Vegas app you wanted to. So that's kind of, just a baby step forward. The question becomes, I don't even know. I don't think you can go in there and bet at an actual.
No, not yet. And nobody knows if that's going to happen. So it's typical of how we go out and implement anything here. That and how stupid was it to be among the last of large states where you have a huge degenerate population to get involved in this when New Jersey has redeveloped every road. I mean they've even taken down the toll booths on the Garden State Parkway. They don't need the money anymore because all of these suckers are sending it in over-unders on the NFL. Yeah.
The comment on New Jersey, that was a good line. Or the fact that you're seriously asking how could Florida be so screwed up?
It's not like we're talking about fixing the Everglades.
Right?
What? The water's green? Let's just let it go for a while and see what happens. All right, a couple of other teams. Yeah.
Nothing's wrong.
How much mileage can you get out of the success of the Florida Panthers, Dave Hyde? Because we know this is the town without pity. And we've said this forever on the show. They've been selling false hope more than anybody else here in town for a long, long time, outside of maybe, I don't know, do we even include the Marlins in this conversation? I happen to be a fan of baseball, so I would like to see the franchise at least, be a blip on the radar and maybe even make some noise like they did a couple of years ago in that freak season that we had with COVID. But the Panthers, I'm looking at a lot of fans disguised as empty seats at the arena there, and we know winning is going to maybe be the salvation for the franchise in that regard, but I'm not even sure if it's enough. Could you be winning at a more hellacious clip? I know they lost their last two now, the last couple of nights in New York and New Jersey, but getting off to a 10-0-1 start, you would think that would spark some interest around town. But what's your sense of what's going on with the fan base in that franchise?
Well, first of all, I went out last Wednesday? I don't know, or maybe a week ago Wednesday. And because of the Panthers win streak, I was going to write a column. I was, hey, let's forget the Dolphins. Let's go cover a winner.
Yeah.
Talked to my editor on Tuesday morning. And by Wednesday night, the story wasn't about winning with the Panthers. It was about a sexual assault case in Chicago.
Always something, right? Gilda Radner.
Always something. But, yeah, they seem to be on track and winning. Now, how that translates into people in the seats, people were talking about it, the Panthers, and still are talking about the Panthers start and all that. But you don't erase 25 years of ineptitude.
You're talking to me? I've been trying to erase it forever, Dave.
A quarter century, people are conditioned not to following the Panthers, and then all of a sudden they have a good month, and people, hey, why aren't the fans coming out? Where are the fans? And it takes a little longer than that.
All right, Heater doing well, although I don't think there's a worse slime ball in sports than the cheap shot artist. And I don't know. I mean, Jokic coming back at Marquise Morris like that. If you look at the foul that was afflicted on Jokic by Morris, that wasn't pleasant or pretty either. I mean, it would be enough to anger you. Do you hit a guy in the back? I mean, I was thinking Kermit Washington when I saw Morris on the ground like that. What did you make of that? And it's interesting because the Heat, are trying to establish. I mean, Briley loves a tough team, and they showed that they were not sort of this spineless finesse type of team that you might have considered, say, the Florida Panthers a few years back.
Yeah, my favorite scene out of that Denver night was a Denver Post photographer taking Andy Ellisberg, the Heat salary cap guy, standing in the door while all the Heat of the locker rooms blocking the Heat players from going out was a suggestion, and the caption was Heat security official. Andy Ellisberg he's the nicest guy in the world. If he has to block,
mild-mannered would be an understatement, no question, with Andy.
Yeah. So. But
he's not fighting anybody, Andy Ellisberg. I don't think he's fighting anybody.
Yeah, and
it's not like he's taking on Canelo.
Yeah, I'll make this prediction. I don't think anybody's going to fight anybody. By the time everybody looks at how expensive a punch would be,
Yep.
What Morris just got fined $30,000, or Butler and Morris, one got 30, one got 50. Jokic got a game, and imagine those 4 or 5 times that rate the next time. No one's going to be throwing punches. There'll be a lot of words and menacing stares, and be a very competitive game. But I don't think anybody will be throwing punches in a few weeks.
So we don't get the reprisal of Zoe and Larry Johnson.
I mean,
with Jeff Van Gundy around Zoe's ankles saying, "Stop throwing punches at my guy." Dave, we love you, man.
Yeah,
You're on your game today.
We're back to that, aren't we?
I think
the Heat. It's good.
You broke me. I think I'm going to ante up the buck there and subscribe online to Sun Sentinel. I got the same offer. It's phenomenal. It's for 11 years now, $1, unlimited access.
I have him softening every time by the end of this. He said he's going to do it. He's going to do it.
I'm going to spring. Yeah, I want to read your stuff. It's worth $1. I'm telling you. Great stuff as always, David. We love you. Thanks so much for joining us here on the show on Ion Channel.
All right, Defo.
You're welcome, man.
Thanks a lot. Pretty heady stuff when you think about it, right? 25 years of ineptitude you're trying to erase in one day.
They're trying.
All right, we'll make an attempt at that. I tell you what, they don't have to erase anything at Hialeah Park because you want to remember everything that was great about the place in the past. And I have just marvelous memories of my experiences at Hialeah Park. And you know what I love about this, Lubie? I'm still making new experiences at Hialeah Park, including our experiment last week with our brilliant television production, which I'm hoping happens again tomorrow with the Polyman Paul Massell and the great Dave Gurgles Gurgley. I love going to Hialeah Park and love being there for the Trivia Challenge. But now I'm just going to be going as a fan. It's going to be fantastic. And we're going to be bringing you all of the splendor of Hialeah Park on the Trivia Challenge Thursdays from 7 to 9 right here on Ion Channel. Now, it's hard to describe how beautiful the place is. You've been down there, Lubie. You had your face impaled into the buffet at the time, so I don't know if you caught, as it was nighttime also, how beautiful the grounds are there. But you did tour it in the daytime when you were thinking about getting married there, which I still think you made a big mistake. No, now it's Shirley. But the location. Because we could have been plunging away on, I forget what racing was going on. It might have been Breeders' Cup Day or something. But when you got married, you got married in March, right? So we're talking about some big races that were taking place, and we thought, wow, what could be better than having a couple of cocktails, and you shined everybody on at your wedding. On top of that, I don't think that would have happened if you were at Hialeah Park. They wouldn't have allowed it. So, but you've seen the grounds there. I mean, absolutely beautiful. Amazing. Am I making that up?
No, it's amazing. It really combines old school feel with new school world. Like they do a really good job there, and it's such a blast.
Man. And the casino's great. Every time I plug on Facebook, I see their Facebook page, and there's another guy taking down another huge jackpot. That wasn't happening at the local casino that I was at this Saturday when the Mustang came back with casino face to the bar and said, "Could you order me a drink already?" Mustang, I mean, that's what machines that don't pay will do for you. They play with your mind, your psyche. You feel like a failure. But no, you're going to feel like just the epitome of success when you go to the casino there at Hialeah Park. Jackpots being taken down all the time. Steve Calabro knows how to run the place. That's why he's so respected in the gaming industry. And, of course, everybody does a great job there. The Brunetti's dedicated to the community and to the fact that they want their patrons to have a good time. Boxing on the horizon there, Lubie. We're going to have to get down there. A bunch of sensational Cuban prospects, including a couple of really established guys. Don't know all the details on the card yet, but I know it's going to be good because I'm kind of familiar with the names that are involved. HialeahPark.com on the page there that they have on their website. You'll see all the coming events. Frank Fiore doing a marvelous job with that. We love you, Frankie, and all the people at Hialeah Park. Check it out for yourself if you want a dazzling casino, great food and drink, not at ballpark prices, champion simulcasting room, the best poker room anywhere in town. It's all happening at Hialeah Park. Speaking of happening, Tony Segreto is going to be happening here.
Yes, sir.
In just a few minutes, we're going to connect with Tony and see what he's cooked up this week in terms of he's manufacturing a new studio on each episode of Old School with Tony Segreto. That's brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. Phenomenal place. And did I say that right? Phenomenal place. And also Catholic Health Services, a phenomenal company. So we're happy to have Tony with us. We'll go Old School with Tony Segreto coming up here on the Defo Show. Lubie's back with us. We're on Ion Channel. Our thanks to the crew there. They do a wonderful job. Jack Namer kind of pacing the floor right now going, when is he going to shut up? Brad does a great job, man. The lovely Amy. I mean, Miguel. I mean, you know all the people there, man. The characters are great. Ion Channel, and we're happy to be a part of their fine lineup of programming. Back with more in a moment. Now that. How did I mention Doug, man? The Auto Channel. It's like 8 o'clock.
Hey there, it's Mike Mayo. Do you like steaks? Do you like seafood? Do you like classic
hear me?
Florida charm? You could get that all and more at Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of 95. The Studi Alley family, they've been running the place a long time. It's been there more than 70 years. And it is now a place you can get early bird specials along with steaks to take home and throw on the grill yourself at the Butcher Shop. That's open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. It's open for dinner every night starting at 4:30, but they are closed on Sundays. Go to Tropical Acres. It's a place to go for a great meal, great people, good value. Tropical Acres.
The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at GulfstreamPark.com. Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way, with distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities. Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development, and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Since day one of Old School, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes, because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat, 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
Buy or lease a house and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy, with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen.
What we gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
We are now kicking it old school with the one and only Tony Segreto. Brought to you by Catholic Health Services and Texas Roadhouse.
Tell me, doctor, where are we going?
All right, we got a message from the people at Ion Channel. Welcome back to the show, by the way. The Defo Show. Mike Lubitz returned from his European travels, back with us on the show today. And we got a memo from the people at Ion Channel that we better do something quickly to help dignify the show. And fortunately for us, just a stroke of luck, we had that exact same premise in mind when we brought this guy along to do Old School with us. And this goes back a few years. There is no more distinguished person in South Florida media history. I mean, you could say Ralph Rennick. He was a pioneer. The great Ann Bishop, may she rest in peace, brilliant. You had many others that got their starts here and moved on to huge careers, including Katie Couric and Larry King. But there was no one with a longer and more distinguished and distinct career here in South Florida television journalism than the great Tony Segreto, who we now have the pleasure to go old school with here on the Defo Show, a humble little show like the Defo Show. Here's Tony Segreto going old school, brought to you by Catholic Health Services, two fine organizations, and what else would Tony represent? And Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. Tony, how are you, my friend? I like the Yankee cap.
Thank you. Doing great. Doing absolutely great. Love the time of year. I got a chuckle listening to Dave Hyde and you guys kind of chatted up a little bit.
Yeah.
And all is well, man. It's a great time. It's Florida State Miami week. It's good stuff. It really, really is. So there's a lot going on. And, I just want to reflect a little bit on what David said and so, sort of follow up on that. And I just heard the first part, but I agree with him. I'm finding more and more people are becoming apathetic about the Dolphins, and just, I mean, even when you see the columns every day they have that same tenor and that same tone. It's look at where we are 3 years after this grand plan. How come we're not any better? Why are we still why are we still stubbing our toe? The draft picks, on and on and on and on and on. And then how many years have we gone now? We still have not found a replacement for 13. We're not expecting 13 to be resurrected. We're not expecting.
It's only been since 1999.
Yeah. I mean,
and they thought he was in decline the last couple of years, which, I argued against.
Yeah, me too. And it's anyway to say that I'm somewhat miffed. It's pretty much like everybody else.
Tony Segreto with us going old school. It's kind of interesting, and it's almost amazing that this thing could have bottomed out as it has so far this year. And the team now at 2-7 after I was thinking about you because I don't know if you remember this game, and I kind of remember vaguely the circumstances. It was a long time ago, back when there were 6 preseason games prior to a 14-game NFL regular season. I was relatively new in town, and I was doing some Dolphin pregame shows. And they had just lengthened them. The reason that I was involved in these programs, your good friend and mine, the great Joe Zagacki, now the voice of the Hurricanes, a dedicated local worker, very much like you, had a similar path in radio that you did in TV because he got into it when he was like 12.
Yeah.
He was running some bets for Sonny Hirsch.
Okay.
And
well, he was.
said, you want to be in broadcasting? Here you go. And get me 50 on the Cleveland Browns.
He was actually my intern at NBC for about 3 semesters, and then was actually my producer when I was doing the games with Sonny. When I first started doing the games with Billy Prue, I was actually doing the play-by-play, and then when I moved over with Sonny to do the color, Joe was our producer. So Joe's like my little brother. Actually, we've been on vacations together. He's in my wedding, and I think of him fondly.
Anyway, he was. Scribed and given the assignment to expand the Dolphin pregame shows at that time from 2 to 3 hours, which seemed absolutely as excessive as anything could be. Now, they eventually went to 4 hours. So in that process, he gave me a call and said, hey, do you want to take part? We need an extra guy now to do some weekend stuff and be part of these Dolphin pregame shows. And, you'll find it surprising, Tony, but I was an out-of-work degenerate gambler at that time. And
shocked! Oh, my God! No.
I relished the opportunity to be a part of such a fine organization as WIOD was at that time, someplace special for sports. So, anyway, I get on the pregame shows, and I'm hosting one in the preseason. And I believe Kim Bokamper was just beginning to scratch the surface of his broadcasting career. And we were at a place that eventually became Smith & Walensky down there at the very beginning of South Beach.
Yeah.
But it was some kind of one of the original breweries, where they had the boutique breweries. But it was a giant facility there, as you know, if you've been there. And as I don't even know what it is today. It might still be Smith & Walensky. But nonetheless, we're doing a pregame show, like a 3-hour pregame show for this game. And we have to do a postgame show. And it was the Dolphins and the Bears. And it ended up 3-0. And just the worst garbage preseason game you've ever seen this side of the Hall of Fame game. Like if you took the worst lowlights of Hall of Fame football games in the exhibition season, that this was it to a T. Shula was even pissed, and he won the game. And I remember having to do like 3 hours of conversation after that. I can't imagine what it was like. And Lubie and I have said this for years. If you're going to be bad, at least be exciting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have something that people want to go and see, some kind of entertaining aspect to your team. Like maybe, you lose every game, but you knock the crap out of somebody, or, you have a quarterback that you think might be able to develop into something, or a fleet wide receiver or a running back you like to see. They have none of that.
Nope.
2.5 years. It's almost impossible to conceive that this thing could have bottomed out, A, as quickly as it did from last year and not go in the other direction, and B, be a team of little or no distinction at this point, nothing but question marks.
Yeah, they're not even an enigma. It's beyond that, because you're right. It has no face. It has no personality. It has no energy. There's just nothing there. When you go to the game, there's going to be a handoff. There's going to be an out pass, and there's going to be. There's nothing there that's going to generate. I have to tell you, I'm so conditioned to us doing these shows on Thursday.
Yeah.
That I think it's Thursday. So I'm thinking,
you're going to watch the game tonight. Well, you may as well just watch like some soap opera. It'll be more, emotionally charged than the game is.
The Hallmark Channel has Christmas movies on. We can start. We can start doing that. It's crazy. And again, I don't want to keep playing the same record over and over again, but every week I get calls or text messages from friends who are big Dolphin fans going, I go, they'll text me, go, hey, you have a score? I go, what? You're not watching? I don't need to watch. Give me, what's the score? I go, you know what? If you want to score, go look. Just at least let's see if we can help generate some fans. But it is just not. It is. I can't remember it being quite like this. Even the Greg Camarillo year, where Greg caught that pass to give us that one win of the season.
Coco
Camry. There was always that hope. There was always that wish, that want, that we're trying. Here, I don't get I don't know what it is. I don't know if the team is kind of throwing it in. I hate to say that, because athletes aren't
just not very good.
That.
I mean, that's the bottom line. And that's a problem, because they've had these guys, and they had all of this. People have talked about it, as you mentioned. The storylines have been the same forever, but in this case, they really did have this so-called draft capital. It wasn't Bitcoin. It wasn't confusing at all. They had solid picks all over the place. They had dumped a bunch of really good players that they didn't bother to try to develop themselves, and or for some reason, these players that are very good were always at odds with the Miami Dolphins regime. So it's a great mystery.
I do believe Jalen Waddle can be special. I really do. I really do.
You should get some really good players, though, in the situation that we're in.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm very disappointed, and just to the point where you're going, now what? I mean, because we're in a predicament now where, I get free agency can help turn a team around, but we're more than one or two players away. We're more than 1 or 2, 3 or 4 or 5 players away.
Do you think it's fair to equate watching that last game with the Terry Schiavo case? You probably covered that in your days in the news.
Stop.
I mean, that it was dragging on forever, though, Tony. It was just a disaster. Hey, I'll tell you what, if you need to pick me up, Tony Segredo, and this is always great. And I don't even want to get into this debate, because this was the hot debate last night, because there was little else really going on in this college football playoff thing that was of great significance, except Michigan moved ahead of Michigan State, even though Michigan State beat them.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Let's get the guy that might be able to justify it for us. And that, of course, is and he's tremendous. I mean, runs all of these places in the Southeast region, Texas Roadhouse, and they're just fill the capacity. It seems like at all times, because great food at reasonable prices. We welcome Ed Garcia to the program. Ed, my friend, how are you?
Good morning. How are you guys today?
We are doing great. I know we're talking Texas Roadhouse, but goodness me, even you have to admit, having Michigan in front of Michigan State after Michigan State whooped up on Michigan is a little strange. Don't you believe?
I'd say whooped up is a.
I use that intentionally for you, Ed. But okay, let's say when they won the game.
That is true. I don't know. I question the dual quarterback, the changing, of that. But overall, Michigan looked super strong in the first half, and then in the second part, we gifted the game, and but there's a lot to learn. I still feel like overall, I am true blue. 100%. They are probably a little high ranked. They need to be a solid game all the way throughout. We need to trust Cade McNamara. And he has some opportunities maybe with those long throws, but you're only going to get better through practice. So, I think that this next 3 weeks are going to be, the true telltale signs of, what the Michigan program is all about.
Yeah, the Big Ten is going to have an interesting 3 weeks. Okay, we have, believe it or not, it's hard to believe, but in just a couple of weeks we have Thanksgiving coming our way. We keep hearing in the news over and over and over again how there is a shortage of turkeys, that people may not be able to have turkey for their. Lubie, what are you making that face for? Do you watch the news, Lubie?
I was in Europe. They didn't do turkey.
Anyway, people are looking at 3 of them right now.
Yeah, exactly. So Ed, I have to believe that Texas Roadhouse has the answer for all of that, right?
Absolutely. There's so many different options that you can do. We are closed on Thanksgiving, so that way the team can go ahead and celebrate with their families, but there's a lot of things that you can do ahead of time. One of the most popular things, because again, part of Thanksgiving is cooking at home, but we can take something off the plate for you, whether you want to get a big thing of sides, whether it's our corn, mashed potatoes, but probably our biggest seller for Thanksgiving is our fresh baked bread.
Yeah.
We can get you that bread where it's partially frozen. We still make it in-house. What we do is we freeze it for you. That day, you just kind of let it thaw out, throw it in the oven, and there is nothing better than our fresh baked bread with that honey cinnamon butter. We also do provide, if you want to do a prime rib or other cuts as well, that may be partly a Christmas tradition, but, how awesome is it to have a nice little smoked prime rib for Thanksgiving? It's really easy. All you have to do is warm it up, carve it, and you're good to go. So a lot of great options. Absolutely check out what your local Texas Roadhouse is doing. And what's really great is that each one has their own owner-operator, and they're willing to work with you and make something super awesome for you.
And again, I know people are cooking and they're preparing, and it's going to be again in a couple of weeks. But if you need a break, use that Texas Roadhouse app. Go pick it up, bring it home. You can continue to cook, or take a break and take the family over to the Texas Roadhouse. Use the app to make a reservation, and boom! I'll tell you what, may be the most friendly app in terms of getting food and or a seat at a restaurant and I've ever used. And Lubie's shaking his head because I'm sure he's used it before, right? It's absolutely fabulous, Ed.
It's amazing.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. Always appreciate having you on the show. You know what my plan is, a little devious, as you might imagine, Tony. Maybe reeks of Aaron Rodgers saying, I'm immunized somehow, right? But nonetheless, yeah. Which I don't have I don't even know. I mean, people are making maybe too much of that. I'm not sure. I mean,
I have to tell you, I'm a little over Aaron Rodgers right now.
I mean, he just seems like he's a little eccentric. I mean, what are you going to say?
Between the Jeopardy issue and I'm coming back, I'm not coming back, I'm upset about this, I'm upset about that. Like,
he looks like he's been lost in the wilderness for a while, and maybe mentally that's a fair, metaphor, because he just appears to be kind of like a shot fighter at this point, although playing great football. But my devious plan was I'm going to go to Texas Roadhouse. I'm going to pre-order these on the app now that you guys suggested that to me, although I'm technically challenged. And I'm going to get like a rack of those sweet potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm going to pretend that I made them.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm going to put them in my own little crock pot or whatever and bring them to the place, like look like I'm really schlepping this stuff in there, and then say, man, I worked on these for a while. I hope you try them and like them, and then everybody's going to rave about it and think I'm a good cook.
And as we listen, I know we go on a break, but I have to tell you, even the challenge technically can use this app because it's so simple. It'll guide you. It'll even, you know what it'll do? It can put you on auto ship for the sweet potatoes. They'll come every week.
That's what I'm going to need Thanksgiving. Maybe I'll get them the day before and heat them up. All right, we're coming back with more old school with Tony Segreto. There's so much ground to cover here with Tony. I'm Jeff Deforrest. Mike Lubitz is back from his European tour, which was absolutely fantastic, he says. And I'm looking forward to later this coming spring going for my first time across the pond there and doing a little traveling in Italy. And that'll be a lot of fun. With the Mustang, and that is, I mean, you talked about indifference, Tony. What is the single biggest barrier in a relationship, and that's when the indifference sets in, and that's what happened with the fans here on a lot of levels. Dave Hyde was talking about that with us earlier. I mean, you have a winning team, and they incur immediately some kind of scandal they're a part of, which was unfortunate, but just seems like they're cursed when things are going great. and nobody's showing up for these games. All right, we're coming back with more. The Town Without Pity with Tony Segreto. That's coming up in just a moment here on Ion Channel. Great to be with you. Tomorrow, I believe we'll be attempting yet another edition of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, which went very well, Tony. I know you were green screened in a lot of situations. People used to think they would ask me, like they'd see me at the beach and say, hey, weren't you just in Poland yesterday?
Yeah.
Because I did a lot of fights via green screen, revoicing fights that were broadcast in other languages, and they would superimpose you above the ring there, and it looked like, hey, isn't that Duran in the background? All of a sudden, you're in some city in Panama there, just west of the canal. But would you be west or north? No, I guess you would be west. But anyway, it was great. And we did this with Hialeah Park, and we executed a trivia challenge last week. So
that's great.
How
do you like mine? How do you like my studio digs here?
I'm more worried about what you did with your dog, because you said that was the problem. I mean, is he okay?
Well, he's.
You have an old dog that you're taking care of. I mean,
my daughter is here helping me, actually.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
You look great, Tony.
Yeah, thank
you. You look fantastic. Lubie looks a little dark today. I don't know if he's
we got
in the shadows.
We gotta listen. I have like 3 different looks of the studio. One of which is
this is a good one. Yeah. No, you look great, and I like the kind of mountain look, the rural look there. Yeah. Have you run into Alec Baldwin again? Did he leave Vermont?
He's still here. He's looking for a house.
Yeah.
He's looking for. I doubt he would do it in my town, though. I mean, well, although this is the place for him to be. If you want to be off the grid, this is where you need to be, off the grid.
We found you. All right, we're coming back with more with Tony Segreto. Old school with Tony Segreto.
Because
Mike Lubitz back with us. I'm Jeff Deforrest. We're happy you guys tuned in. A lot of good comments coming here on our comment line. So there's a running conversation going there. Appreciate all you guys tuning in, and we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
Day 25. Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest indoor multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way, with distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities. Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development, and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time? When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not, because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone? You can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Hey, it's Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet here for my friends over at Shenanigans Sports Pub. It's a great place to go to take in a game, a good meal, and a couple of drinks. My friend Patrick, he's been doing it a long time, and he's got 2 locations. West Side is right across from TY Park in Hollywood. And then the East Side location is at 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Shenanigans is the place for wings, burgers, barbecue, fresh fish, anything you want, drink specials, late night dining, outdoor dining. It is the place to go, family friendly. Go to Shenanigans and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
All right, we have to get to your pick. It was death. It wasn't Liberty, Tony.
All right. Well, you know what?
You weren't alone in that Liberty loss. A lot of people were.
Man, I'll tell you what. Liberty had them on the darn ropes. They had them on the ropes. Again, I think the stage got a little big for them. I just think the stage got to them toward the end, and you could see it. They were tight. The way they were made, their legs seemed to not have as much spring in them, and they were. And the dance, the dance that got them there, the song that they used to dance to, the defense just somehow just wasn't clicking. And I don't know. I just, I felt bad. I really wanted.
How much money did you have on Liberty?
What did you have? A couple of dimes on this thing, Tony? How bad?
It was just like, are you kidding? I was talking to a friend of mine. I go, man, Liberty just kicked me in the butt, man. So anyway,
does it involve the sale of the house in Vermont?
No. But I don't have a vehicle anymore.
Repossession.
You know what it's like to walk everywhere in Vermont when you're up and down hills, for goodness sake?
No, I can't.
Anyway, so Sunday. Well, first of all, I would look. Here, this is who I want.
You've been stammering ever since we mentioned the Liberty.
No.
I've never heard you this stuck for words.
I was getting my days right. I was getting my days Saturday and Sunday.
Well, you talk about a shot fighter. I think.
My gosh, that was the best Ralph Cramden impersonation I've ever heard.
Well, you were stammering, man. How much money? How much money did you have on that, Tony? I mean, why don't you admit it now? I mean, this is all about coming clean, transparency.
Well, the only transparency I want to divulge right now is that the 1948 Ford that I'm driving that I got is about to fall apart. So that's the car I have now. But you know what? As long as I bring my wrench with me to crank up the window, then I'm good.
You were never stuck for words in 40 plus years
ever
broadcasting here and national broadcast, radio, television. You could even be doing, and I remember this was one of my favorite Tony Segreto broadcasts. That was one of my first adventures here in town. I love, obviously, love radio and TV and any kind of audio stuff. And you guys were broadcasting the Orange Bowl Marathon. You were anchoring. Now they're running 26 miles, schwitzing their way through the streets of Miami. They're running over bridges in Biscayne Bay. They're halfway to the Keys. These people in shorts and sneakers. And there's no way to follow what the hell is going on. And you had an illustrious cast of guys. I mean, there you're going, okay, let's go to the tower. Larry King is standing by there. Larry, what do you got? I got money on the Kenyan. They're like, what? Larry, this was circa early 1980s, but you were never at a loss for words, even during that time where you would throw to like Hank Goldberg, and Hank was they didn't have cell phones. He was on a payphone calling in bets on the NFL. And to miss everybody went by. I don't know who's leading here, Tony, but it looked like they just passed me. Well, let's send it to Sonny.
We were in an editorial meeting one time with a bunch of new people, and my executive producer steps up and says, if you write for Tony, do not take this personal. He will look at it, he will put it away, and then he will ad lib around that entire script for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And none of it you wrote, but the bullet points are all there. Don't be offended.
Yeah, well, I mean, you ad-libbed your way around an answer about how much money you had on Liberty.
Yeah,
by immediately going to something completely different. That was great.
I thought when we moved to
this.
Ion that we lost that tape. Somehow I thought it was lost somewhere.
We've lost nothing here. This is not Richard Nixon's reign as president here. Hey, what 18 minutes? What are you talking about? We weren't talking about anything. I got G. Gordon Liddy on the phone. All right, Tony, let's get into this college football playoff thing. I watched the unveiling of the selections and where they rank right now. Yeah. This is the second week of the thing. I don't know how much of it is overwhelmingly debatable. We were teasing Ed about Michigan State. I guess that could become significant because these guys are now in, as they would say in horse racing, the also eligible position. They're outside the top four, but you're Cincinnati. You're sitting there at number 5. Still in with a shot. One of these teams goes down, and all of a sudden you have Cincinnati in there, no? Or did they find a way to drop them later on when they do recalculations?
It has to be more than one. I mean, I think the real critical, the critical player here again is Alabama.
Of course they are, because they're in no matter what.
If Alabama, pretty much it seems that way, right?
They could lose their next 7, and
I think if Georgia beats them in the SEC.
Well, that's the thing. If Alabama has 2 losses, I don't care how special they are, and you have an undefeated Cincinnati, who did go and beat Notre Dame, and they beat Notre Dame pretty soundly. How can you not put a Cincinnati in then if Alabama has 2 losses?
Well, exactly. And here's the thing too: it's that who would have ever thought? I talked to some friends of mine who are huge Bearcat fans. I mean, they really are. They're born and raised in Cincinnati. They've always been Bearcat fans, but they've never had a whole lot to cheer about. I said to them, who would have ever thought you'd be rooting for Notre Dame? I mean, because, if Notre Dame keeps winning, Notre Dame has a chance to run the table and wind up being 11-1, something like that.
Listen to you, touchdown Jesus. You've been running the
No,
table.
but what I'm saying to you,
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you is that it may and Notre Dame has a good schedule. Not great schedule, but a really good schedule.
They always do play a representative schedule, no question.
Yeah, and it makes them really, really look good. But now what I'm saying is we're going to see the Big Ten sort of cannibalize itself, right? Because we still have Michigan State, Ohio State, Michigan.
We're in favor of that too. Cannibalization.
Yeah. And listen. I have to tell you, it's still. I don't know. It still gets me excited. My daughter and I are having a blast because she went to Florida State. It's Miami, Florida State week, and it's going to be fun. And I you know what? I love both programs. Obviously, my big lean and my love is my University of Miami, where I went to school. It's my alum, and I want them to win, and I want Manny to do well. And I'm happy to see them, sort of making strides. I think that this team has got a lot of energy, and there's some opportunity here down the line. Considering what we talked about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I give him a lot of credit for, staying the course and not getting panicked. And I'm excited about the game. And I hate to say that phrase back in the day, but boy, oh boy, was there anything like Miami, Florida State when both teams were relevant? They were 1-2. It was the biggest game of the week. You always saw the big guns out from ABC and ESPN do it. That was the highlight game. And whether it was Bowden and Schnellenberger or Bowden and Jimmy or God rest them soul, Bowden and whomever. It was a fabulous week of anticipation, of great posturing between the Seminole grads and the Hurricane grads. So my daughter and I are having a really good time doing this. I'm wearing my Hurricane stuff all week, and she's wearing her Florida State stuff all week.
I'm glad you still have that spirit. We haven't had that spirit here since 1969, it seems like. I do remember those battles, and I remember being on the air, and you could flick open, and this was true of a lot of things, including Dolphins games at times, but especially the Hurricanes, Florida State, you could flick open a microphone and just start taking calls, and it'd be one after another, one side or the other. I have vivid memories of a few of the Florida State-Miami battles, but the one that really comes to mind, I like to get different vantage points when I go to a ball game or when I was going as a member of the press. I wasn't really a fan of sitting in the press box and being quiet the entire time. I want to yell and scream a little bit. I want to feel the atmosphere. And you would have to say, I'm not sure that in terms of public safety it was the greatest thing, but in terms of having a stadium register on a seismograph when something big was happening. The Orange Bowl was every bit of that. So I like to go to the opposite field, sideline, the other side of the field that the home team was on, and sit all the way up by that picket fence or whatever that was that they had to keep it from falling over the back there and ending up in the Miami River. And I had the highest seat in the back row where there was really, the only availability because the place was packed naturally with screaming fans. And this was a particularly bitter competition between the two teams. It was when Gino Torretta got hit in the chest by Marvin Jones and threw a sacrifice fly up in the air that somehow Corey Abraham couldn't follow Lamar Thomas. He leaped over him, made a brilliant catch. It was a huge play in the game. We've talked about that play in detail.
The Heisman moment. The Heisman moment.
It was fantastic, yeah. And the place was just absolutely rocking. And I don't know that you'll ever really get that sense again. But there were so many moments like that. And then, of course, the class that was always exhibited by Bobby Bowden after even the most difficult of losses was, something that you could take something away from.
And it was the same way at Doak Campbell. The same type of, they had that spear. Do you remember the spear, Lubie? That they had the spear that would light up depending on how loud the crowd would get, just to kind of give you a sense of how loud the place would be.
I think the horse has been deemed politically incorrect, right? I mean, you can't do this kind of stuff anymore. Chuck a spear in the ground? What are you talking about?
Yeah, everything is. But the fact of the matter is, I still think it renders itself to having excitement within the programs for sure, because a lot of these young men played against each other for many, many years, if not Pee Wee League, certainly high school and other sports that they played in. And
that was always the theme of these games. Yeah. These guys have been playing against each other since they were 6.
Exactly. And it's just great. I think of just how wonderful both Howard and Bobby were as ambassadors, not only of their schools, but of this event, because it really is an event, Miami, Florida State. It's not just a game, it's an event. And I know it doesn't take on the same kind of tenor as Florida State, or, Florida, Georgia, but I believe that in state, it still has that same panache, that same charisma, that same excitement for people. I will tell you this: I am wearing my Miami stuff all week. And
you're going against your own family, Tony. Never take a position against the family. You know that.
I would first of all
listen, Fredo.
Listen, when you went to school there and you're a grad from there and you did all the games there.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? You bleed orange and green.
I still have a big attachment to the University of Miami, although it's more of a detachment now than it was, because I haven't been around the program so much. But you get to know all the people. It's like covering any team.
Yeah.
And it's one of the great things that we've been able to experience, and you try to impart this to the fans out there that don't have the same access and sort of privilege. And you can't help but start rooting for these guys. I mean, no matter how good or bad they are.
Yeah, and these young men are trying. And listen, again, I know we talk about the money, and the money is a big deal, and this is not just a game anymore; it's a business. But when they step on the field, they're still 18 and 19-year-old kids trying their hardest. Some of which know they have no shot at ever getting beyond what they're doing, and they want to make a mark, and they're doing the best they can. And I think it's great. It's good for the school. It's good for the students. It's good for the fan. I think it's going to be great for Saturday night. Or Saturday afternoon at 3:30. It's going to be a great deal.
All right, sounds like a lot of fun. I tell you what, rehabbing isn't always a lot of fun,
no,
and especially if you're concerned about somebody, a family member, a friend, somebody that you're helping out through a difficult stage, in their physical lives. And Catholic Health Services, I mean, it really is true, Tony. It's hard to communicate this in a short period of time, but it's so valuable to get accurate and forthright information from the people that are dealing with a health problem, somebody that you're concerned about. And I don't know anybody better at it than Catholic Health Services. And it's a disgrace what some of these local hospitals do, even ones with good reputations, where you're thinking you're getting good care, but they just won't talk to you. And that's a big part of anybody's recovery.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that when you say that, get it right and make you available, I mean, you go, what are you talking about? Because 9 out of 10 times you call these doctors or call somebody to find out about your loved one and you can't reach them. They'll call you back later at 7 o'clock at night. You still haven't heard. You don't know how your loved one's feeling. You don't know what medicine they're on, what medication they're on. Sometimes some of the...
You don't even know if they're alive half the time.
Yeah. And one of the things the Catholic Health Services prides itself on, and we talk about this week in and week out, is making sure that whoever they're dealing with, whatever the patient needs, whether it's rehab, whether it's, well, you name it, what your mother went through in a hospice situation, that the families are totally involved, consumed in this, so the families know every step what's going on, because they understand. Listen, they're people themselves. They have a family themselves. They put themselves, what they do at Catholic Health Services is put themselves in the people's position, the family's position of their loved one, going, I want to know what's going on. I want to be able to make a phone call. Listen, you may not call them and get the doctor right away, or the nurse or the therapist right away, but I guarantee you within a time frame that is acceptable to you, within an hour or two, you're going to get a call back and you're going to get the lowdown on exactly what's going on with your loved one. And again, whether it's a rehab situation where, something like a hip or a knee or whatever the case might be, or maybe it's something a little bit more serious than that. Catholic Health Services is all about making sure they get everybody on the same page, get the patient healthy, more often than not, quicker than they ever would have imagined, and making sure that the people, the family, understands what they can expect when the patient gets home and what they need to do to continue the patient's road to recovery. You can't ask for more than that. These people do it every day, 24/7. They do it with the greatest passion, the greatest inspiration and integrity I could ever imagine. I am proud and honored to be part of their family and have them on Old School.
Fantastic. No, everything you say about them is absolutely the truth. And then some. Tony Segreto, Catholic Health Services, Moral School with Tony. College basketball started last night. That was fantastic. And I like the way, they take it right to, the top and have these kind of teams facing each other at the beginning of the season. And then there were a couple of real upset. I think Navy upset like a ranked team last night. A lot of interesting stuff. Parity in college basketball is fantastic, and it's such a spirited game, especially now that fans are back. It was a very enjoyable watch last night. So we'll get into that with Tony Segreto and many other things as we continue Old School with Tony Segreto. Eye on Channel's presentation with Mike Lubitz. How about Lubie back in the fold here? That's great. Ricardo did a great job, though. He is the most sought-after free agent in the business. I'm telling you.
I know Neil told you years ago, don't ever have a fill-in that's competent, let alone good. I actually disagree. I've learned from you. Surround yourself with good people. And it was even your idea. Hey, get Ricardo. I was able to leave and knew you guys were in good hands. So it made me happy. I'm glad you did a good job.
But it's always great if you have a substitute that everybody hates if you're hosting a show. Let's face it, Tony. Let's be honest about that. I can't wait for you to come back. Who is this piece of trick you put on the air? And then you're like, yeah, it's good to be back with you. A breath of fresh air here, the Defo Show. All right, we're returning with more with Tony Segreto. Old School in a moment. Now that.
The time.
You always want a weak replacement, man. Just look what happened with Lou Gehrig. It's 8:45.
We've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest indoor multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way, with distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities. Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come. The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. All right, one thing that I love about you, Tony, and we discovered this over time, although it took a while to kind of realize what the heck was really going on there. As distinguished as you are, and as many people as you deal with your various committees that you're on, Orange Ball, this, that, boards of trustees of universities, deep inside, I mean, lurks. I don't know that it's a sick degenerate, but there is a degenerate nature, and nobody loves college football. I believe next to women's softball, college football is really the most passionate sport that you're all about, Tony Segreto. Is that not correct?
I love it. I love it. Let's say we talk about being the intelligent degenerate, the one who doesn't say it out loud, but
those are mutually exclusive, my friend.
There
is no intelligent degenerate. If you're a degenerate, you've already shown a lack of intelligence or intellect.
Defo and Lubie love kicking it old school with the legendary Tony Segreto.
Hey, Defo.
Yeah.
You know that there's something to what you just said, because my son calls me last night and he goes, "Hey, I'm going to Vegas over the weekend. Any thoughts
Vegas,
on
great destination, by the way."
Yeah, he goes, any thoughts on what sports book I should hang out in?
I already like the kid. I like him even more than I did. I met him several times, but destination Las Vegas is great. It's
so I go, you know what? I'm going to be on the radio in the morning. I'll ask people and give Hank a call and ask him what sports book is.
Any sports book in Las Vegas is essentially fine. I mean, it's just great. I'm hoping this happens here. I know Frank Fiore was saying plans at Hialeah Park. They're going to be one of the hubs that will be implementing sports wagering, and people don't know what it's going to be yet, but Frank was telling me they were going to dedicate a space there at Hialeah Park, which they already have the champion simulcasting room.
Yep.
It'd be great to integrate sports wagering in, and that's what most of the sports books are like in Las Vegas. Although when I was there for the 70th birthday celebration, which is 6 years, by the way, Tony Segreto, above the Mendoza line for men, and I'm feeling every part of that. I mean, my average is dipping down to like 143. It looks like I just went 1 for 7. But it's tough. A couple of sets of tennis last night with my son. He had me running around like I was on a yo-yo string and, shanking balls right and left. And just a very, very sore pick. So that is true. Mendoza line for men, 64 now. It used to be 54. That's when they have to look at you and they start thinking about taking out body parts and organs. It's a rough go. But we were in Vegas, for that. And period of time. This was around the 4th of July. My birthday is July 5th. And soccer, I mean, the World Cup was going on and on a giant screen. I mean, you can't imagine how this sickened me, Tony. People are going crazy, like when Croatia would score a goal. And the whole place would erupt. And you're thinking, what happened here? Is somebody running around just hit like for a couple of $1 million? But it was just like, to cover an over-under of a half a goal in a soccer game, and the people were going crazy, those that had the over. But soccer was big there. You can pretty much go anywhere, Tony. I like the Mirage, actually, and a lot of people like the Bellagio Sportsbook, a little spiffier. And I also like any grungy place where, like, the lowest of local lowlife is hanging out. I really particularly enjoy that. It reminds me of going to the old Jamaica OTB.
Yeah, I was there a couple of times, obviously, but I was in the sports book during March Madness, and it just remarkable.
People love it, man. It's like being at the game. Yeah, second only to being at the game. I mean,
it really is. It's absolutely remarkable.
All right, so you're going to be sending it in, and we did find out that you were a sick degenerate, and I noticed something in these intro clips that we're playing from previous shows here. I get a special kick out of hammering you here. I'm sorry, my friend. I love you like a brother. I really do. You're the sweetest guy on the planet here, and all we do is pick you apart like you were a Dolphins secondary. It's unbelievable.
You do. Right. I feel like I'm just, okay, go ahead.
No, you've been a punching bag, at times on the show here, and you take it well. You're very good-natured. I know you love, the sanctimony of Mike Krzyzewski. We didn't even want to mention the thing with Leslie Stahl and the sneakers, but it's his farewell tour, and I would have to say I'm more inclined to stand up and applaud. I'm still mystified how Zion Williamson somehow ended up in a Duke Blue Devils uniform, and there was no scrutiny applied to see exactly what rules were bent to make that come about. But nonetheless, that all being said, the winningest coach of all time, are you, Tony Segreto, going to go on a record and say that Coach K is the greatest basketball coach in the history of the college game? And that, of course, is saying that you put him up ahead of the wizard, John Wood.
Wow.
And my man, Lou Carnesecca, man. I love Lou, man.
John Wooden always has a special place for me. I just the way it is. So I would not say Krzyzewski's the greatest ever, but he is as close to John Wooden as you can get. John Wooden was wow. He's a special guy.
Pyramid of success. But he did have a guy filtering a little bit of capital. This guy, Sam Gilbert. We were talking about it yesterday. And I believe it was a friend of mine, Alan Greenberg, who wrote the series of articles about Gilbert's influence at that time on a UCLA program. And nobody questioned it because the Wizard was so up there in terms of.
But it was also that time. Remember, it was all about, we're still talking, slush funds were still around. And, it was a whole.
Among my favorite kinds of funds. Slush funds.
Exactly. It was a whole different era. It was just a whole different era. And I think that those things, it just was. And at the end of the day, John Wooden still coached young men. And he still mentored young men. And those
Get
young
the anthem
men,
out there. Put the anthem up in the background.
And that's all you could. And that's how you judge Krzyzewski too. Listen, we may have questions, but boy, oh boy, when you talk about the men that they coached, the young men that they coached, and how those young men feel about those coaches and what those coaches meant to them, it's remarkable stories that what they've done that people will never know about.
Oh, I thought he was going to punch up the national anthem. And you were going to keep going about this, which is great. No, if Bill Walton likes you, there has to be something to be said, and you don't hear much disparagingly directed towards John Wooden, in spite of the fact that he had a guy filtering cash to these kids who had no desire to go to the West Coast, when they grew up in New York and never wanted to leave the five boroughs. All right. Tony, what do you think? Thursday night, Dolphins, do they continue to roll here? I mean, off that brilliant win that they had over the Houston Texans, they take on the Baltimore Ravens, another bitter reminder of failures of drafts gone by. When Lamar Jackson was sitting there, I forget who we selected that year, but he certainly wasn't the equivalent of Lamar Jackson, who might have solved our quarterback problems for the first time since Danny retired in 1999. What do you make of that game?
I think the Ravens will win the game, and I think the Hurricanes will win its game. That's what I'm thinking.
Lubie shaking his head, man.
And what Lubie?
I don't think he's wrong. I just think it's sad. Like Tua's still not going to play. All the stuff I said about Tua is sort of going down the wayside. The kid can't.
Can I be honest with you? When I saw that Tua's not going to play, my reaction was, oh, all right. I mean, it wasn't like, oh,
there's
no
certainty though. I don't think.
Yeah. It wasn't like we're taking. Like Aaron Rodgers or Mahomes or somebody like that off Justin Herbert off the field. We're not taking guys like that off the field. We're taking two off the field. Okay, so we're taking them off the field. I mean, we're
taking Chad Henne out. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's just like
he's not that bad. I didn't mean to make that comparison. That was ugly on my part.
I'm not saying he's bad.
Chad
I'm
Henne,
not saying
Tua.
he's not anything. He's not. Tua is not. He's not bad. He's not good. He's okay. He's
as you described so aptly before. Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way it
and
is.
I love the young man. I wish him well. I really root for him. I root for him every week to make big plays and to bring this team back. And it's just,
Lubie was rooting for Josh Rosen.
Now, listen to me. Here, you heard it. You didn't hear it first here, but maybe you did. Listen, look at what our friend Ryan Tannehill was doing once he left that team. He's a heck of a quarterback. And I think Tua has that opportunity in a different environment. I really do.
As soon as he puts on another uniform.
Exactly.
Tony, we love you, man. Catholic Health Services, Texas Roadhouse.
Thank you,
phenomenal
Catholic
job.
Health Services. Thank you, Texas Roadhouse. I'm thinking about, you know what? Getting those rolls and getting those sweet
passing them off as if you made them yourself.
Defo's already going to do that.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
I made these rolls. It took me all night. Tony, we love you, man. We'll talk to you again next week.
Love you guys more. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Kid looked good today on the show. All right, don't forget about Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, and that'll be mile marker 104 in Key Largo. That's a dynamite spot. I really want to get back there. I've been bugging Kajemi and my friend Tommy Fox. They're going to work on this thing. I mean, they got a bunch of things in the works here with the new configuration on Ion Channel. So it's just a question of time here, and we're going to make that happen. And we'll get down there, and hopefully on a weekend, I guess, where Jimmy would be there on a Monday, Jimmy Johnson. So we can't guarantee that because that was preseason when we were down there last time, and he was available to us. But we want to make sure that he's on board there and be a major production at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. But you don't have to, I mean, if you're looking to dodge a major production, you just want to relax and unwind and have like a great, great time. I mean, you cannot beat the atmosphere, the food, the environment, the whole configuration there of Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Right there on the Bayside, Key Largo. It's one of the first places you hit when you finally find civilization up in Florida City. Forget about stopping at some joint with like a pirate on there that's been around forever. What is that? The Mutineer, I think it's called. I mean, it might be a fine spot, but jog on down to mile marker 104, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. No matter where you're going, now you might be going to Marathon. You might be going all the way to Key West. Worth the time to stop in there. Get that Italian fisherman pizza. Try that out if you're a pizza fan. I got the Gambling Gourmet on tap to try one of those. And Dominic in the kitchen there. Dominic and Jimmy, John's brother. Whew, man, I'm not sure who's better at what they do because John's great. Real professional. And Dominic, I mean, he's so versatile, including singing with the band, man. All of a sudden, we got Bono up there on the stage. It's incredible. Hey, you do another one of those U2 tunes? That was great. Larry Calvano, who owns the place, a real sport of a guy, man. Just great. They have great accommodations there, great food and drink. You have to stop by. I mean, I would make it a go-to destination. Anytime I was going to the Keys, I always want to make sure I visit Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill with a remodeled sports bar, too. Great place to watch football Saturday and Sunday. Catch Miami and Florida State. Imagine catching it there, right there with the aura of the Jimmer.
There you go.
That national championship vibe sitting right there. And, of course, bitter rivalries they had back then. Great battles with Florida State. So that would be a perfect place to go. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill in Key Largo. Well, we got to chill for a while. We'll do it again tomorrow. That was a lot of fun, Mike Lubie Lubitz.
Thank you, sir. And, welcome. Fun to be back. I appreciate you welcoming me back.
You did a fine job. It's like you never missed a beat. So for Mike Lubie Lubitz, all the people at Ion Channel, Jack Namer and the whole crew down there, they do a wonderful job for us. Looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow at 7 in the a.m. on the Eastern Seaboard as we leave you know that.
The time.
Is that USA, Defo? Yes, it is. My fine European friends. It's 9 o'clock.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.